Welcome back to No Hacks. Before we dive into episode 206, I want to share something really important. This podcast is evolving. The world of work is shifting faster than ever. AI is changing the rules in real time in every single industry. So from now on, this show is going to be about the future of work and the strategies that will stand the test of time, even as technology transforms everything around us. No hacks. And there's no better guest to kick this off than Olga Andrienko. Olga is a marketing leader turned AI ops expert, and she's been on the front lines of how automation, search, and entire industries are being reshaped. We talk about the decline of traditional SEO, the rise of AI-driven workflows, and how to stay creative and employable in a world where AI is taking over the repetitive work. Stick around. This one is packed with insights about where work is headed and how you can adapt. Today I have a pleasure to host Olga Andrienko, marketing AI ops expert and ex-SEMrush VP of brand marketing. Olga, welcome to the podcast. Pleasure to have you on.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm very excited to talk about this.
Same here. So tell me about your journey in marketing ops. How did you start? How did you end up where you are today?
It started in actually January 2025, so it's not that far or far back. And I was I just attended a weekend course on AI, and I thought I was very proficient with prompting, with chatbots. And this was a part of AI that I really already, I thought I kind of not mastered, but I was advanced compared to most people around me. So I thought, okay, well, and I spent most weekends experimenting with AI, like in 2024 already. And then there were 2 days, and there was nothing about chatbots. It was just only about automation, AI agents, and that was like a lightning rod moment, because I thought that's how we are going to be replaced. Like that's not, the chatbots will make me efficient, like 30%. But it's still like me and my tasks. But then AI agents could really, scale stuff. And then, it really exponentially can grow the business. And it was about recruitment, it was about content, it was about SEO, so all sorts of workflows. And that's where I realized that everything I know in brand and marketing is great, but everything needs to be rewired and kind of restructured and rebuilt. And that's where I thought, okay, like brand job will still exist, of course, but the truly kind of the job that would be growing much faster would be operations, because you work with all the departments and you just rebuild stuff with them. So that's how I thought, okay, this is where I need to go. And I pitched the change and became the VP of marketing ops in 1.5.
Funny story. I recently did with a friend. We did a webinar. We hosted a webinar called AI Beyond the Chatbot. So I'm not making it up. It's literally the name of the webinar, because going to the chatbot to do your AI, whatever that is like going to the bank to get your salary. It's not necessary. It doesn't have to be just in that one tab. And the real power, as you know, and this is where you're the marketing AI ops expert. It needs to be everywhere and anywhere and wherever you need it, whenever you need it. So great start to this conversation, because we're completely aligned. So the single moment you realized AI would change the future was that weekend, and
Yes.
figuring out that chatbot is not the best way moving forward.
Yes, correct.
I love that. Can we talk about SEO a little bit? And I mean, the elephant in the room, because you were with a huge SEO company.
Yes.
What the hell is happening to search?
So clicks are declining, and 2024 was the year with like highest amount of traffic you ever got from Google, probably. So you will not get that much like ever again, probably. So a lot of websites got from 10% to 45% decrease. Some were slashed like 75%. And some also suing Google already
Wow.
for, well, because this is like such a, such an instrumental channel for their business. And what Google has to also, but Google has to adapt as like every other company, and they changed, well, they introduced AI overviews, which means that like there are a lot of links, and there are a lot of citations in AI overviews, but people just the behavior is just go, read, and leave. So Google also claims like they have even more searches happening, which is like which also some of the studies show. But well, that doesn't translate to clicks, and search is becoming like a brand channel. So my background is social media and influencers and community, and social media managers, they always have to like they always had to have different channels. So you optimize and you kind of rank, right? Like you optimize for Instagram, for TikTok, for LinkedIn, for Facebook, like for X, and those are different algorithms. Like, and those are like multi-platform was always a reality for a lot of marketers. For SEOs, this was only one channel for 20 years. That was like a blessing, I would say. It's constantly changing. The rules were changing, but it's not the same as like a lot of like brand marketers. They always work with multiple channels. And now SEO is like transforming like to search everywhere optimization, not only search engine optimization. So this means like chatbots optimization, Google still like, and also YouTube is a search engine, TikTok is a search engine. So behavior is changing, and I think like SEO is still SEO, but the metrics are different. So it's just more about impressions, and the good old PR is back again. You need citations, you need mentions. It's not now like only about the rankings. It's about like real estate
Right.
and surround sound. And this is a very hard moment to adjust. And then the companies like need to recalculate like their forecasts because suddenly they cannot measure the most measurable channel out there except for paid. So yeah, it's like I would say it's very interesting times. Like brand is more important than ever, and that means also like PR. So what I would and links are also important. Like if you go and do deep research in Gemini, and you can see how many links deep research will give you. Well, Gemini is like it has the largest number of resources, so it would like cite 50 resources and it would read like over maybe even sometimes like 100 more. So there you really understand that links are still important, and it's still like a part of SEO. Also digital PR, like citations, like you need to do studies and you need to be a reputable resource, and then you need to do this outreach so you would be mentioned on other websites because this is where your citations and mentions would come from. So these are actually really foundational old tactics you still need, and these are just like coming back, and you don't need to focus solely on Google. Like you really need to also understand the like how to appear in chatbots.
I have so many follow-up questions that I'm sure I'll forget a few because talking to someone who's been in the trenches of this industry for so long, maybe not directly doing SEO, but you were there. Number one thing I'll say, when will Google point to EEAT introducing that as a concept and saying we told you so and you didn't listen and now you're just losing all the traffic because of it? I mean, because this is clearly what EEAT was preparing the world for in many ways. Number two, I had Jono Alderson a few months ago on this podcast. I'm sure everyone knows Jono.
Yes.
He talked about solved query space and how if you're in the solved query space, which means AI doesn't need you anymore to answer that query, it has got the information from you, you're screwed. You're just going down and there's no recovering from that. You need to adapt what you're doing. And I forgot number 3. Of course I did. But this is like you said, this is a foundational shift to an industry that has not seen foundational shifts since day one. There was Black Hat. There were all those tricks you can do to trick Google and into ranking you, and then you go down again. But it was always the same. You're supposed to be number 1, 2, 3, or 4 or whatever. And if you're there, good. If you're not, fight to get there and fight the competitors. Now, I think the biggest problem with this new world is that there's a layer of AI between a brand and knowing where the customers are coming from. And it's getting trickier and trickier to figure that out. There's no attribution is a nightmare, basically.
Yes.
Because of
Yes,
this.
correct. Yeah.
So we're going to get paid LLM placements. I'm sure that's going to happen.
Yeah. Yes, and also they're like really burning cash right now. Like all of this is like the industry that is burning money like faster than anybody else. They need to probably become like, well, of course not profitable, but like they need to earn more, and that's where the ads can really appear. So that's like one of the potential solutions, definitely, well, in terms of the biggest LLM. So I think that's where like OpenAI doesn't like have a lot of opportunities for growth, while Google is a machine. Like they have like the largest email. They're earning money from corporations, and it's very easy for them to incorporate like their new services. So even if like the search and ad revenue goes down, like they're now introducing really, really strong competitive like tools in the AI space that they are integrating in those companies very quickly. And that's how they will like stay afloat. And then I really like how they're pivoting. Like, I don't like what's happening in search, but I do like how Google is behaving. They're rolling out everything not as fast, but what they are rolling out is clearly embedded very seamlessly in experiences of their clients, which is like, I think, an amazing thing.
Yes, and this summer I'm still reading Empire of AI, and what you said about OpenAI not making money. It's a horrific story. If listeners, if you haven't yet read Empire of AI and you want to understand how these big AI companies actually operate, I think it's the most important book released this year, at least tech book. Now, I also read somewhere, it's in the Ed Citron's newsletter, the host of Better Offline podcast. He said something like 2024 entire revenue of AI companies was $18 billion. Smartwatch industry was $32 billion.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what we're talking about. They're burning trillions and making 18 billions.
But they're very like well, compared like to other industries, they're still like baby. They're steps, like they're infants. So if like if we compare the early days of smartwatch, then it's probably was a fraction. But but the amount of money that smartwatch was investing, then it was like nowhere near what's needed for AI. So yeah, we're still yet to see how this all plays out. And then maybe there will be also like, it's now where we're in a bubble, then like we'll see mergers and acquisitions. I'm still very interested in what Apple will do because they're clearly late, so they need to buy someone. And by the way, like I'm changing my phone in September. Like first, like I've been a Mac and Apple user for, I don't know, like for 15 years, like or not 15, but like definitely 10. Google Pixel is coming.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? I want to know why.
Because this phone like has like, it doesn't have like AI. It will not help me.
That's true.
And Google Pixel obviously has everything integrated. And then Siri is like a joke.
Siri is like a previous gen assistant.
But like Gemini would be like a better option. So that's what I'm like testing, and it's very painful, but I feel that like Apple is so behind that also the technology, it's just like I want to have like my most important device, like it needs to be up to date.
That's a valid reason. I'm not ready because I'm so embedded into Apple space, complete that laptop, iPad. I don't have an Apple Watch because of the stupid battery life. But
Okay.
if that was not a problem, I would sell my
Yeah.
Garmin and buy an Apple Watch.
Yeah.
So you spent the summer. Let's talk about. You spent the summer learning about all of these tools and working on automations. What was the first workflow, real practical application of a workflow that you have automated?
That was actually earlier. So when I pivoted to marketing ops in SEMrush, I hired within 3 weeks the AI workflow architect. So how we worked is that I ideated. I know like all of the channels in marketing. I have not like personally managed the team of affiliates, and I would say, well, SEO team is separate and performance, but then I worked in performance campaigns, like in multi-million dollar campaigns as well. So I know like most, and I know brand, I know performance, I know PR, and that made me quite unique, that I understand the difficulties or the routines in every channel. So I started describing the processes, also interviewing the teams. We identified the boring tasks, and then I described everything in detail to the AI workflow architect, and then he kind of like already started building automations. And I think this is like the best option if someone's listening is like head of marketing, or well, even like a founder, someone who is ideating, describing, and strategizing, plus someone who actually executes. Like they're two different people. Like if you're hiring one person, they're not strategic enough and they're not technical enough, probably. If of course it's a startup, then like you need to combine, but then the scale of your operations will be so much lower.
That's
So
great
like
advice.
with one.
Because you cannot be a strategic thinker and implement at the same time. This goes for any industry out there, but especially now when you can move so fast. I think
Yeah.
it's great advice.
Yeah. So how I thought about this, they are fundamental, like very important processes, like reporting analytics, but that means financial data. That means like we cannot, well, AI, like, well, ChatGPT, like, well,
Of course.
we cannot even like use OpenAPI, OpenAI API, and so on. And then there are channels that are like that you can automate a lot of stuff, but then it would be high stakes, like performance. Because there are like a big budget involved, and then any mistake would like actually be very, very risky. And then there are channels like social media that doesn't have proprietary data, and it's like easy. And then, well, legal team would not be as interested
Yeah.
in chasing me. So that's what I started with. And for example, there was a reporting on share of voice. So there were mentions tracked from influences on SEMrush and competitors. And then, the influencer manager had to go to Twitter or X and to LinkedIn and to track this manually. So she would enter SEMrush. She would go search for influencer, enter SEMrush, then enter competitors, and then calculate how many posts they did about like certain brands. This was like very, very manual, and it was about maybe 6 hours per month. She was doing that, if not more. So that was a clear automation, and this was done like now it's like all technical, but she gets the same result in the same spreadsheet she was filling it out. So
Without doing it manually.
how we did it with N8N and tools like Epify, where you can scrape like through API. With Twitter, you can also use a native API. With LinkedIn, it's a bit
It's
difficult.
completely impossible.
Yeah,
Without
so it's
API.
either Rapid API or Epify. That kind of is like a gray area,
Yeah.
but it's still possible. And then, like once mentions are collected, then AI agent, like through N8N, analyzes this, and then like it's embedded in the specific columns, like in spreadsheets, because Google Drive is also connected to that automation.
I love what you said. Start with the boring tasks. And this is what I tell my clients as well. If you have something that makes you go, oh, not again, please think about automating that. That is the easiest win you can have. If you have something you do every month, every week, that really makes you go, I don't want to do this again, but I have to. That's what you have to automate. And then, once you're comfortable automating that, add something bigger, and then it's a question of how much you can trust in automation and AI, of course. But find the smallest possible task you can trust it with, and let it go from there. This is really good. How do you decide which model to use for an automation?
So first, it depends on the security and what I'm doing. So, and it's very different, like when I did it for SEMrush and when I do it now for myself. So like with SEMrush, so SEMrush uses, like, it's in a Google's space, right? So it has Google Drive, and like we have Google Cloud. So that means that Gemini already exists in there. And that means that legal team would be inclined to approve Gemini with a lot of tasks because of already existing access. And Google has some enterprise grade tools available to the bigger companies with on a bigger plans. For example, there's Vertex AI. You can build agents with Vertex AI, but you can also create like a sort of like a bakery. Well, you create a space for a specific team that is like only available for this team. You create a prompt there that is very, very long and very detailed. And let's say it would be working for advertising teams and for analytics teams because they can upload the CSV there. It's not stored, it's not processed, like it's only existing with this window, but you can talk to the data. And that was like approved by security, was approved by legal, because it was like with Gemini that is already like pre-existing. So that's how I thought of the models. That like if it's already like it has to be zero pain entry for something that we had. For example, we also created like an add-on for content checks, and there, like by that time, Claude was like known as like as best for content. I would argue about this now, but like that's why we tested like Claude and Anthropic API, because this was like there. Like I thought, okay, Claude like understands content better, and in terms of like OpenAI API models, then it was just reasoning models are great if you need like AI agent to think. They're more expensive, and also, for example, if I needed anything search, I would use Perplexity. So we had an automation that I created with employee advocacy, where there was an input form, then it was enriched by Perplexity search, and then AI agents started creating content. So now, in terms of also search, if you need, then Perplexity and Gemini, as actually Gemini is very, very affordable and cheap right now. So for search, I would use like either these two, but like nothing. And for example, with the if you need to enrich the data in a very thoughtful form, then that would mean like deep research. And now I would use Gemini, or I would use OpenAI API because they have it now like in API form. So that's how I thought about the models. It's just first I think about a use case, and then I think about like whether it's secure, whether it would be easy or not easy to use, and then and then like we would test two models for
results. But the thing with legal and security, this is what most YouTube tutorials and people building stuff on their own just for themselves don't even think about.
Yeah.
Working for a large company, it's not about choosing, not even the best. I would say they're all the same. It's really percentages that are between them. You get similar results. You get very similar results. But I think legal and security and that kind of stuff, this is probably more important than if it's ChatGPT or Claude or even Gemini or whatever else. A very, very interesting answer. Before we move on to looking at the future and how future of work and everything will be changed, let's let's do a few lightning round questions. The first one, there's nobody in the world more ready to answer this than you at
Okay.
this moment. If you had 100 euros to spend on AI tools, what are you spending it on?
I'm spending this on DigitalOcean
Okay.
because I'm self-hosting N8N.
I
Uh,
love that answer. Okay.
so that actually can be that could be even after up until like $50, but like let's say I spend $40 on this.
Okay. You have 60
Um,
left.
and then I need to spend on API. And I would, well, before ChatGPT 5, I actually would be definitely going with the Open AI API because of how many models they had,
Yep.
and it's like was very attractive. Now I could probably even consider just Gemini, because Gemini, well, can process largest chunks of data without hallucinating. So if I can choose one, I would go for this. But I would still need a chatbot. So I would go for either, I would go for still ChatGPT because
ChatGPT.
of custom GPTs and because of like, well, there's Agent now, like it's just like all in one, I would say. But I really like Manos as well. I've been using it more and more, but like I would not, well, I would only, so yeah,
That's a
that's,
great
and I
stack.
would also like the rest I would spend on Amplify.
Okay. Okay. Just to get the data and then to
Yeah,
get,
just like
yeah.
scraping everything because without that, like
Yeah.
it just, well, it would be a nightmare to pull it manually anywhere.
Great answer. I love that stack. So one more, a few more. If you could ban one AI hype or buzzword in the next 12 months, what would that be? Too many to choose from.
It completely revolutionized the way I work.
Oh yes, please. It's amazing.
It just, and then also just someone is cooked. So this is like whenever something is like, well, either the designers are cooked
Yeah.
or
Or
SEOs
SEO
are
is
cooked.
dead or
Like,
stuff like
yeah,
that. Yep.
yes. So, so what I, and one that I would not kill would be that someone will be out of job, like because it will be the reality. Like we will see this. It would probably happen as we see now, like with like new models, it's kind of slowing down. So like the myth is like being debunked that is like it's so fast. But anyway, like it's we see a shift where there are
Absolutely.
a lot of especially junior positions like well in research I even like I used to have someone who would like gather data for me and do the manual work. Now I was like, no, you know what, like don't do it, like I do
Yep.
it myself, like 10 minutes
Yep.
and it's done. So and she was actually quite discouraged as well, like when she realized like how many tasks were just like, well, going away. So that's something that is definitely like I think it has ground, like, and we need to be worried. And I'm worried.
Yeah. I think everyone is.
Yeah, but like in terms of the things I hate is like this revolutionized
That
and
yes, please. That needs to be gone. The last one, if you could put AI into one everyday object, what would that be and what would it do? I just read an article about smart taps or LinkedIn post about smart taps in an office in a company building and they stopped working and people could not
yeah.
get water. So I guess it's not that, but
Well, the one that I really liked, well, it's not existing yet, and it's not like an everyday object, but I really like the robot dogs for blind people.
ooh,
So, because, well, I don't really like this idea that dogs are trained very, very harshly to be the guide dogs. And they also, like, they cost a lot, they suffer a lot, and they also, like, they only work for 10 years.
yeah.
But, like, well, the person, the lifespan is hopefully a lot longer. So, if they have a robot dog that has AI, then, like, dogs are just pets. And then this is a working machine that is smart and that could really help.
That's a great, great example. Yeah, but I hope that happens. I don't see it happening because there's weapons they will want to build before they
Yeah.
build robodogs and stuff like that. But that is exactly what AI should be doing
Yeah.
for humanity. Uh, let's talk about the changes in the world. Everyone's scared. Everyone should be at least a little bit scared. Even if you know what you're doing, if you're ahead of the curve, you're at least anxious about what's going to happen because not because it's bad, it's because we don't know. Last 20
Yeah.
years, there was comfort zone. There's no comfort zone anyway anymore. What are some of the emerging roles that you think will be appearing in the next few years?
Well, there are experts in prompting. There are experts also in like in validating
Right.
how AI is used. There is also people who are interested, well, and who are working in ethical AI, and that means also just how even the company is using AI. And then it's very easy to go into Epify, scrape like thousands of LinkedIn posts, and then don't do it like anything under like it's just basically unoriginal content that
Right.
you're like repurposing. And this, I would say, this is also unethical.
Mm-hmm.
And to ensure that the companies are using the AI in the right way. And just oops. Well, the head of AI is now
Right.
the new hot role, I think, or like VP of AI. It's just so it's I see it everywhere, and it's now a lot of SEOs are transitioning in this more of I would say even like agent experience
Mm-hmm.
optimization. And then they used to talk to search engines, but like now we need to optimize sites for the agents and then for chatbots. So this is also emerging. And yeah, I
Is there
guess
anything that's
more
not
of
about AI? Is there
Mhm.
anything emerging that's not about AI?
There are certain areas where AI is less competitive, and it's the events and community. So those are very, I would say, immune because
Hmm.
yes, routine tasks can be automated, but not as much. And I believe the events also will have their moment
Yeah.
more and more, and not maybe bigger events, but smaller events. That means that people would want to have someone skilled in event marketing to ensure that, and this could be like community and events can go together, and that is not emerging yet. But
Mm-hmm.
when like people are really tired, like actually, my dream job was like owning an alpaca farm. Like it's not working in AI, and this is like my retirement plan. So I would say like a lot of people also like the jobs that will be merging is like
Mm.
either ecotourism,
Right.
or just something that is like completely non-competitive to AI. And because people will be tired, they want this AI detox, and that's where they would want to go in nature but have better experiences than what's offered now. So yeah, that's also like non-AI that is emerging.
I worked for 10 plus years as a web developer. I have not met a single web developer that did not at some point dream about being a farmer. Not a single one, because tech burnout is
Yeah.
real. And when you're in tech and you're making, well, good money, it used to be like that. Now it's kind of leveling down to averages or everything else. But when you make a lot of money, you feel like you're in a golden cage and you cannot leave tech
Yeah.
because everything else, you have to downgrade your life or you can't pay the bills or
Yeah.
whatever. But moving to non-tech professions with the tech and AI skills and bringing that up to the level where your tech career was, I not in the next year or two, but I think that is the future of our lives. In our lifetimes, that's going to happen a lot. And I'm very happy about that. If I can work without a screen, I want to work without a screen like that.
Yeah.
That's really, and I don't mean just a dumb phone instead of a smart. I mean, I don't need this at all.
Yeah.
Like alpaca farm, like that is just beautiful. So, what are, leaving alpacas aside, what are the best ways to get hired today? Someone who is not really up to date with AI or up to date with current tech, what is their best case scenario of getting hired in the next year or two?
And they don't know AI right now.
And they probably don't know AI well enough. Yes.
Okay. What's beautiful about AI, it never judges and it never, well, you can ask any number of questions to it. And so if you don't know AI, buy and access probably again to ChatGPT, and then start just asking, describing what you do, like what you know. So if you're if you are working like as a content manager, it would say, okay, I'm a content manager. I specialize in this. These are examples of my work. This is how I write. Just you are my mentor, and then you pick a few people that you really admire in the content space, and then describe what is really inspiring to you about them, and then kind of that's already your project where you task AI to mentor you on how to use AI, but in the voice and in the style of those people. So you can ask like, what should I do? What's the easiest way I could optimize my work? What tools I can use? Like, give me an example of like this task. I just spent 2 hours doing this. Suggest how I could save this, or I could spend half of that time. So and that's how you learn how to use AI, how to prompt better. At the same time, you learn new tricks and recommendations, how you can save time. So I would just really talk, and I would use the voice as well, like to really speed things up. And also, if you are actively hiring, if you're actively applying for positions, before you even apply for the job, or like if you already are going to the interview, then you need to do a deep research on the company, and then specifically to your niche. So if you're a content writer, then you could like do a deep research, explain tasking this to analyze all of the content and all of the content of the competitors in the past 5 years, identifying the gaps, what's great with competitors, and then you do you really do a long prompt, ask, and it's just within like 10 minutes, you'll have a good insight. And because you're already an expert, then you have like a lot of ideas already on how to improve this, and then you will be standing out from the other candidates for sure.
This is where I have to mention your LinkedIn post from last week, exactly about this. I'll put it in the description, in the show notes, because it went viral. Number one, it's really a big post. It is great. If you're trying to get hired, that is the blueprint for how to stand out. That's literally, there's a diagram, there's all that stuff. So I'll put that in the description. But yes, this is really good advice, asking AI how to do and even how to prompt it. Like, if you ask AI how to write a prompt, I guarantee you its first pass is going to be better than yours.
Yep. Absolutely,
always, every time, because it knows how it works better than you do, better than anyone does, other than maybe Sam Altman. I don't know. Maybe not even him. This is excellent advice. Let's talk about, you mentioned privacy and security when you talked about getting approval in the corporate world. How do you feel about local versus cloud LLMs?
I think local really is more of the future. Well, even with NVIDIA offering this like supercomputer, like it's not there yet, but then having a machine that would run locally for like every one of us.
Yep.
And I will be then like soon I will be able to fly on like a 10,000 feet and then work with AI without the internet. Like that's not a distant future. So I truly believe in hosting, in self-hosted models. But cloud is also great for a start. Like you just don't have to you just buy the subscription $20. It stores somewhere else. You don't worry about that. You don't pay, and then nothing breaks. Like don't lose the data. So for beginner level, for entry level, or for something that you don't really care about in terms of security, for sure, like cloud is great. For anything more sensitive, or for if you want to have more control, or then in the future where you don't want to really be dependent on the access to the internet, then like local is great.
Yep, I have a friend, Iqbal Ali, who got me into trying LM Studio. I tried it about a month ago for the first time. And when I tried the Quen 3, the smallest model that Quen, the Chinese LLM, had 4 billion parameters, it's 2.2 gigabytes, the entire model. And when I realized this is 80 to 85% as good as ChatGPT, as latest ChatGPT model, and I can run it locally, and it barely gets the fans running on my MacBook.
Yep.
Like, why? What are we chasing? Why aren't we using the tech we already have? I think I agree. The future is in locally run LLMs, in the companies, individuals, whatever it is. But there is not going to be as much reliance on OpenAI, on Anthropic, even Google, all of those, because everyone, like we had, servers to host WordPress websites for us, we can have LLMs hosted that either work with the website or you work with them directly. So I'm very big. I'm willing to bet on locally run LLMs in the future because it's significantly easier and better than people realize. Most people, at least. Okay, a few more questions. So you worked with a huge organization. You were marketing ops, AI ops. How do you get teams to accept or adopt to this new world and start thinking in terms of leveling up their AI literacy and fluency? And how do you get them to want to do that and not feel forced?
That's actually a really tough process. And that's why I think corporations are far behind in terms of AI adoption, because once you need to regulate, you need to educate. And also, it's impossible if you're 1,000 people organization, do you buy ChatGPT accounts for everybody? That's becoming like a really, really expensive problem. So that's why also that's like one of the internal triggers that really made me rethink my job, because I was approving the invoices for Claude and for ChatGPT. And I saw the growth, and I saw my team, but I also saw the whole invoice across the organization. And I was like thinking, okay, I need to centralize this. I need to do something like even within marketing to ensure that people would feel that they don't need the chatbot, and then like the bigger stuff it was already solved. So I think the best thing for bigger organization is definitely having the strong ops person from every team, like from RevOps, marketing ops, or IT for sure. And then when you think, and automate things for people, and really even eliminate the need. So there's Gemini that people could use. It's embedded, or it's Copilot for Microsoft, which I've never used. But yeah, Microsoft Teams is something that is scaring me. And that is basically how I wanted to really just already extract even like all the tasks and then all the custom GPTs that somehow just started like emerging everywhere. You have no control of what's happening and what's inside that. And it needs to be centralized. So either it needs to be some enterprise, for example, now like with Google, there is this Google Opal, right? Like that I had in my, this is embedded. Like now it's in US only, but so it's a service that is embedded in the Google family of tools. And that is the tool that any team member could use. And then they can connect, like, let's say there is like API key for every team that is like shared separately. And then they can like use that for their tasks. So ideally, it's not like a multiple chatbots, but it's a unified system where people, like we had a Monday board for AI workflows requests. So people filled in the description. Then there was a call we had with them. And then we started like automating things. And there's an AI backlog. Everyone sees what tasks, like how they're rated. So this is how you make people excited when you remove routine, but you do not remove routine with a chatbot. Like people feel more overwhelmed. Like they are busy delivering their goals. Then they want to go home and relax. So once you remove those 2-3 hours a week for them that made that also was about frustrating tasks, then you can infiltrate this 2-3 hours with AI education that people are already excited about, because AI just removed the most hateful part of their job.
This is a great answer. And I think forcing someone to just saying, I want you to use AI and here's your ChatGPT account, that is never going to work as well as here's the invisible AI that helps you free up your time. And I want you, like you said, spend 2-3 hours to learn more about it, which is just beautiful. Final question for today. We're increasingly living in an AI and tech world, agentic web. It hasn't been announced yet, but this is agentic web now we're living in. This is more than 50% of interactions are machine to machine online, and that's never going back. It's never going to be human web again. I'm not happy about it, but it's just a fact. How do you make sure you keep your human creativity in this overly technical and AI world?
I think now it's easiest time to stand out. I have not seen the time where it would, because we are in a sea of sameness. Like, I opened the MVP for a website. It's the same icons from Lovable, from Bold. And then this is, I had I'm a mentor for early stage startups. I've seen 5 websites out of 10 companies I talked with. Like, they are vibe coded. One, because this is very early stage, but this is the same layout, very neat, but I can already see that. And the same, I open LinkedIn, same posts. If there is one interesting topic, then it would be just half of my feed would be that. If you're not posting about this, but posting about something unique, you already won. So I think it's super easy, because people are getting lazy. They are just taking what works and then replicating this, and then even with not their own language, but just with the AI language. And the interesting posts that are human, and this is less than 10%. So if you are in that 10%, if actually your writing is clumsy, now it's your feature.
That's a great point. I'll just add video. If people can see you, talking head video, not AI slop videos. If you're talking to the camera and people can see you, and then you can write a post that's just going to cover what you're saying in the video. But it's clear that you didn't do this in 1 minute, because anything that anyone can do in 5 minutes or less will be done by a lot of people in 5 minutes or less. And there's going to be slop, and this is the road you don't want to walk. Great advice. I think this is good. And amazing conversation. I'm just happy we're aligned on so many things about where the world is going and how we can adapt. So what is the best way for the listeners to connect with you?
On LinkedIn, Olga Andrienko. That's actually the only platform I'm really active on. And that would, I will just send me a DM or send a connection request.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being a guest.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It was great.
That was my conversation with Olga Andrienko, and what a way to kick off the new direction for this show. A few things that really stood out for me. The first thing is the shift in SEO and search. It's not just about rankings anymore. It's about visibility across every platform and preparing for a world where that AI filter is between us and the information, and it decides so much of what we see and we don't see. Second, the automation, it's real and it's practical right now. Olga showed how even some boring tasks like reporting or social tracking can be automated today, freeing teams to focus on higher level work. And third, we touched on the future of work, the new direction of this podcast, new roles that like AI ops and workflow architects that are emerging, while human creativity and community building remains more valuable than ever. So this conversation is exactly why I wanted to make this shift. The goal here is to explore what's changing, but also what will still matter 5, 10, even 20 years from now, so you can make better career and business decisions in this new AI-infused landscape. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to subscribe to the podcast and also to the Substack at nohacks.substack.com, where I share extra insights, notes, some behind-the-scenes looks, resources you will not hear on the show. So you'll find the link in the description, but here it is again, nohacks.substack.com. Thank you for listening, and let's keep building a future of work that works for us.